Hello, Nathan Stout. How you doing this afternoon, my friend?
Good morning, Bill. How are you doing? I'm doing well.
Good, good. We find ourselves on a Friday, Good Friday, matter of fact, the Good Friday of Easter weekend, spring break ahead for our students. You and I'll get a few days off, but then we'll be back here Tuesday to get after it again, won't
Absolutely.
we? Hey, so Nathan, this is kind of our last installment of the self-talk series for the calendar year 2021. And so just a great time to maybe reflect a little bit. So what were you doing about this time last year? Kind of around Easter.
Well, Bill, this was a time I had a lot of plans in place, but dealing with COVID-19, those plans are obviously changed. Planned on taking some vacation time and just with dealing with the pandemic and trying to social distance and be safe, it just took a lot of those, made a lot of those changes. So, we were, I know our staff, we were sitting there trying to think about how we're going to continue to support our students and, as having children of my own, becoming the homeschool teacher and doing all these different things. It was just a big adjustment this time last year.
Absolutely. I guess my fondest memory, I don't know, fond is ironic to use, but, was the hunt for toilet paper, right? I mean, it was like, it was about this time last year. It was like, we got to find some toilet paper.
Right, absolutely. It was toilet paper, cleaning supplies, whatever it was. It
Right.
was
Certain groceries that you could easily find on the shelf, no longer you could find on the shelf. Even just worried about going out to the grocery store in general. Like I really don't want to go out anywhere, but some things you just got to go out for. And you're right, we had to pivot at so many levels. Personally, changing plans, Easter plans, vacation times, those types of things that we do. Your kids' events. And then, of course, at work, we shut down for a while and had to work remotely and figure out how we were going to get things done. And so, yeah, this time last year was very different and even surreal at times because we just didn't know really where things were going, how fast it was going to go, and how bad it was going to get. So, but here we are a year later, and well, we still have these things going on in our lives. We're still doing some social distancing. We're not bringing students back to our offices yet, still doing remote and virtual advising sessions. So, things aren't totally back to normal in so many ways. But it's just the time to reflect on where we've been, where we're at now, and where we're going, perhaps. The reflection of some of our self-talk videos over the past year, suicide, certainly a big topic, depression, anxiety, addiction, addressing stress, and that was around the holidays, the journey of grief. And again, the past year that we've had so many deaths, so many people sick, jobs lost, lives changed. Grief has been a big part of the past year, people adjusting to loss in their life. Then we talked about sexual abuse, domestic violence, awareness, sex trafficking, and a lot of those realities that sometimes we don't think about rural North Carolina, but by golly, those issues exist very much so in this area as well as many places around our country and around the world.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're deviating a little bit. We were going to do another self-talk on substance abuse issues, but now we're going to turn our attention to some 8 dimensions of wellness. And I think it's very appropriate for where we've been in the past year, just to remind ourselves things we need to do every day, every week, every year, but put it into a type of context. And Nathan, I'd like to talk about food, of course, pie charts. How about just pie in general? How about pizza pie?
Absolutely.
But if you take a piece of pie or a pizza pie and you cut it into 8 slices, right? You've got 8 pieces there to deal with. And so I really like to look at our lives as 8 dimensions. and pay attention to those 8 dimensions. And of course, I don't know about you, I can share a pizza and eat a couple pieces, but I can't tackle all 8 pieces of a large pizza at one time. So I can only take little by little. So we're going to take little bites as we go along here and talk about them. And I think you were going to maybe share our screen and put this up there so people can kind of just look along with us as we get into the dialogue on these 8 dimensions of wellness. We can also put it into the analogy of building a house. You know, if we wanted to build a really, really safe house, we would want to put 8 strong rooms together in the house, perhaps. I don't know how many rooms that you have in your house, Nathan, but I got about eight rooms or such in there. And I cannot be in all 8 rooms at the same time. I can only be in one room at one time. And so each room in my house has purpose. Each room in my house has importance, and it has its place. And so I think we'll talk about these 8 dimensions as all being very separate, but yet important, but yet also unified and necessary holistically as we look at our lives.
Yeah, that's a great analogy because, like you said, you know, we can't be in one house at one room at one time, but every room is important. So there has to be some type of care in each room. We have to clean up every room. We have to do these type of things. We have to reflect on those, and that's the way this 8 dimensions of wellness is, you know, and even in our own lives.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll go ahead and share my screen right now so we can go ahead and get started.
All right.
All righty.
So, you know, and these aren't set up in any particular order, although, you know, we'll kind of start. We often talk, Nathan, you and I, about mind, body, and spirit, and how holistically we need to touch on all those things as human beings. So we'll just kind of start into the emotional wellness. And, you know, of course, we all have to deal with life events. And you know, as well as I do here at work, sometimes we'll get students in that have some pretty stable emotional reactions when adversity hits, when situations come about that are very disconcerting. But some people emotionally, you know, they don't have a lot of built-in coping mechanisms, and they can get very angry, very upset very quickly. And even colleagues, the toughest of colleagues that we have to work with, sometimes we ourselves get emotionally upset and distraught. We see our colleagues do that, and you know, we're here for each other because we all have to manage our emotional wellness, and that's dealing with the positive and the negative, the ability to learn and grow from experiences. And so Nathan and I are just going to kind of talk about strategies in this emotional wellness because, again, we've talked about our children, Nathan, and one thing that we try to help our children do is react and respond to life stress and life experiences that are disconcerting so that they can respond emotionally, keeping their emotions somewhat in check, but at the same time being able to identify, recognize, and share their emotions because that's important. We can't bury our emotions. That's not healthy nor good, not a good coping mechanism at all. But to really be able to share and talk, identify, reveal, and process. So, you know, I'll take the first strategy under emotional wellness, and that's just remind ourselves to stay positive. And I know we put the word always there because it's not always possible to remain positive, right? I mean,
right.
We're human beings. There are going to be moments in time where we just feel angry or defeated or miserable or hopeless. I mean, we're not always going to feel positive, but I think we have to remind ourselves that it's that positivity that's going to help us get through the event, the trauma, the challenge that has been brought to our lives. And when we say positive, it means identifying the resources in our lives that can help us get through difficult times. And that may be other people. That may mean coping strategies. That may mean resources in the community. but we have to stay positive and identify the positive things in our lives when we're dealing with challenge, adversity, trauma, and so after we have our moments of anger and weakness and hopelessness and despair, we always have to remind ourselves to come back to that place of positivity, because that is what's going to bring us hope. That's what's going to bring us determination, the very things that are going to help us get through, survive, and get to the other side of life's traumas, life's challenges.
Great point. The next one that's listed there is intellectual wellness, and just being creative, doing activities that are mentally stimulating, just continuing to grow, mentally and intellectually, as you go through life. And I think the first thing that's listed there as a strategy is to be open-minded. It's easy to judge others and condemn others because of the way we grew up or the way we experienced life. But as you continue to go through life and as you continue to do things, you're going to see things from a different lens. Everybody has a different lens. There's always the analogy of if you took the number 6 and you had two people look at it, one person will see a 6, the other person will see a 9. It's based on that person's point of view. So you always have to be open-minded to be able to listen to that individual and see their point of view when it deals with the topic. Also, you just want to have hobbies, because especially during this time, we can find ourselves going to work or going to school, helping our families and doing all those different types of things, but we're not taking our times for ourselves to build some hobbies and to relax and to de-stress, whether it's gardening or building something or doing something taking up a hobby that you did as a child and maybe picking it up again. Just taking those times to kind of fire those engines in your brain and do those type of things. It's always going to help, and it's always going to help with that intellectual wellness.
All right, so this is live. So I'm gonna pop back to the emotional wellness, Nathan,
Yes.
because I fumbled, because I was going to take the first one under emotional, the first strategy, and then let you take the second one and go for it. So I'm gonna go back to that second strategy under emotional wellness, and that's why we're having this screen up so people can follow along and say, "Oh yeah, that's where they're at. That's what's happening." Because the intellectual absolutely, all points taken. Because again, we're talking mind, body, and spirit. But I didn't want to leave out a few of these strategies for the emotional, and that's seeking, accepting help and support from others when needed. Nathan, we're guys, and oftentimes guys don't like to stop and ask for directions, right? We're
Right.
Our wives are telling us, "Hey, just stop at the gas station, or pull over. Let's ask some friendly people." Like, nah, I got it. Now, of course, the invention of GPS really bailed us out. A lot of times now we can use those GPSs. But I think, for especially the males, but hey, look, there's some strong-minded females out there as well that don't like to stop and ask for directions and don't like to ask for help too. But that's one part of what we need to do sometimes, is just stop and understand that we need to ask for help during stressful, difficult times. Next strategy is employing gratitude. This is the one that as I get older, I try to remember to do more, and that's just to be thankful. And not just be thankful for what I have, but be thankful for who I have around me. And Nathan, you're one of the biggest reasons why I'm thankful about where I work. Very thankful for your friendship, for your collegiality, for your work ethic, the things that you do here. You're my work brother, and man, I wouldn't choose any other work brother than you. And I'm thankful for you, and I'm thankful for a lot of my colleagues that we work day in and day out together.
Yeah, thank you for you as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a gratitude, and again, that sense of gratitude lends itself to positivity, because as I appreciate you, appreciate the others around me, appreciate having a job. Again, we talk about so many people in the past year have lost jobs, and lost homes, lost assets in their life, and I'm just so grateful for what I still have during a very difficult year of change, in our society and those types of things. Mistakes, again, I talk about getting older, and sometimes that makes you wiser, but also oftentimes I find myself making more mistakes as I get older, because my memory's just not the same, or I'm just not maybe paying as much attention to detail as I need to. But we're going to make mistakes. As young folks, we make mistakes out of maybe immaturity or naivete. And we got to learn from those mistakes. As we get older, we still make mistakes. We learn from them. We try to grow from them, become better after we grow from them. And then the final strategy was just practicing being mindful, increasing our awareness. And that's just maybe being in the moment, being mindful of who we're with, what's the context, what's the scenario, what's the situation, and understanding what's going on, having empathy for those around us, and taking ourselves out of the equation for the moment, and just, kind of seeing what's going on around us. Because once again, as we help others, as we're aware of others, as we are being grateful for others, all that comes around to bless us in the end.
Yes, it does.
It makes us better and stronger people as a result of. So, all right, I'll try to do better on the next one, Nathan.
No, we're fine. We're just having this conversation, and these are some great topics, and I think we'll pick it up from here.
All right.
All right. So I can go ahead and take physical wellness if you like.
Yeah. But leave me one of the strategies. So I want to jump in on this one.
Okay, absolutely. So, so that physical part of your body, just taking care of yourself and doing the things to help promote physical wellness is definitely important. And the first strategy is to try to engage in some type of physical activity for at least 30 minutes. Excuse me, 30 minutes, not 30 days, but 30 minutes a day. And you can break that up. Sometimes you can't dedicate 30 minutes a day. You might have to do 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there. But just finding that favorite activity, whether it's walking or cycling, or if you're running, or doing some maybe like weightlifting and things of that nature, or gardening, any of those type of physical activities is really important. It's going to make you feel better. It's going to help you, maintain your weight. It's going to help with all these different activities, but it's just going to activate, those different hormones and stuff in your body just to make you feel better overall. And also just learning to recognize the warning signs in your body. If you're starting to have headaches or distress or things of that nature, or if you're feeling more sluggish than usual, just making sure that you're going to the doctor and make sure there's no other underlying conditions that's causing those illnesses in your own body. Especially nowadays, a lot of people are not going to their medical doctors or seeing as many appointments because they were fearful with COVID-19 and stuff. It's really important to make sure that you're doing those wellness checks and taking care of yourself and hitting those milestones, based upon your age, and just making sure that you're taking care of that and doing what needs to be done for yourself.
Hey Nathan, I took you back a year, right? Now let me take you back 5 years. Because it was about 5 years ago when I came on and joined you here at the college. And shortly after I was here, I think you were having some health issues. What was your body telling you about 5 years ago?
Well, I was. Just to kind of share my story. I was sitting here. I had an appendicitis, and I went to the doctor, and I'm being stubborn. I was like, "Oh, it ain't that bad. Ain't that bad. I can deal with it." But I was like, "No, I can't deal with it." So I went to the emergency room, and when I had a CT scan, I ended up having a tumor on my kidney, and I had stage 1 cancer, kidney cancer, and if I didn't listen to my body, who knows what would have happened. So it's really important to make sure you do that.
Yeah, man, I remember that, and then shortly after that, my body started talking to me, and I said, Nathan, tell me more about that appendicitis stuff you were having, man. I said, I'm having, and mine turned out to be a kidney stone.
Right, exactly.
And so, yeah, I had to get some kidney stones removed, and so yeah, I think you and I are, we try to be in tune with our body and know what it's telling us, and we got to listen. We start getting symptoms that are out of the ordinary. Of course, we want to be tough, suck it up, get through it, and all that kind of stuff. But again, as the older we get, our body starts to talk to us a little bit. We need to answer quickly and get it some attention and find out what's going on.
Absolutely, definitely.
You hit it on the head, Nathan. When we were talking about the great thing about exercise is that when you're doing it, it releases those hormones, those chemicals in your brain, which are neurotransmitters, which are the feel-good hormones, right? So it's like, oh, I don't want to get out there. It's too cold to walk, or it's too cold to do this, or it's rainy, or I don't feel like it. But man, once you put that time in, and your body gets to move, because again, we're hardwired. We're human beings. We're hardwired to move to survive, and we need to respond to those biological needs that the body has. And so when we do it, the brain rewards us with these nice chemicals that get released, and just we feel better overall. So that's a great thing.
Absolutely.
We talked about the diet, and then the last thing we wanted to touch on was the sleep. And I don't know, you got some sleep issues too, don't you, Nate? You getting a good 7-9 hours of sleep per night?
I am now. I definitely am now. I had a little sleep apnea. Well, not I deal with a little sleep apnea. So, but I do the things I need to do to get that proper rest, and that's another thing. If you deal with those type of issues, make sure that you try to get them diagnosed and treated as best as you can. But yeah, now I may not be getting 7 to 9 hours, but I get a good 6 hours of sleep. That's 6 hours of sleep.
And that's right. Depending on what doctor, what specialist is talking, they'll say 7, 9. Also, age makes a difference. Younger people might need a little more and this and that. Because of course, we know as the older we get, the harder it is to sleep. But yeah, if we're getting a good 6, 7. Restful. And when I say restful, that means uninterrupted, without waking up and then having to fall back to sleep and waking up and falling back to sleep. It is important, just again, that for many aspects, for stress and anxiety, as well as overall health, as well as, gaining weight, that whole thing. If sleep is a nice regulatory pattern that we need to get into. So if you're having problems, that's a reason to see a doctor as well, so they can find ways to help you regulate your sleep and at least get 6 to 7 to 8 solid hours. So, all right, what we got next?
All right, so the next part of it deals with spiritual wellness. So you use the analogy before, Bill. We look at things as being mind, body, and soul. So as we're caring for our soul, and not necessarily equating it to like a religious affiliation, but just our soul in general, our soul, we need to make sure that we're taking the time to care for ourselves. So I think the first part of it, like you said, as a strategy, is explore your inner self. Who are you? What's your purpose in life? What are the things that's going to make you be who you feel that you're designed to be? What is your purpose? So how do you, when you're looking at yourself and you're examining where you are in life, and I'm sure, we all do it, we think about 20 years ago when we were 18, or 30 years ago, whatever, wherever you fall in that category. And you can kind of look at the good, the bad things that you did in life, and kind of reflect on yourself, and then just like a compass, make an adjustment to your course to kind of reach the goals in life that you wanted to reach, and be there in life. And I think, a part of that too is, as you're reflecting on yourself and life, take time to meditate or pray, or just have that relaxation, practicing that mindful relaxation. We live in a digital world. We live in a fast-paced world, but our bodies are designed to need that time away from those different distractions, that we can just meditate and pray and relax our minds, and help rejuvenate ourselves and push on for the next task in life.
Yeah, you see, for me, Nathan, that whether you call it meditation or prayer, for me, it's all the same. They'll talk about guided meditation. Well, so in guided meditation, you're picking, a topic or a theme. You're picking a place or people or whatever it is that you want to be as part of that meditation that you're creating, that image that you're creating in your mind, that's going to provide for you the environment, right, to bring positivity, to bring healing. And of course, prayer is the exact same thing. It's very intentional, and you're thinking about people and places and things of that nature, and you're lifting those things up, as we say, and putting those out into awareness, into the mindfulness that we all have. And so, not to get into religious discussions and debates and all that, but I can promise you, through the history of humanity, folks in every parts of the world seem to agree that there is more than just the mind and the body. And there have been books upon books and religion upon religion based on trying to understand how to capture that, how to explain that, how to understand that. And so I just think there is a part of who we are that we call the spirit or the soul that needs attention along with the mind and the body. And these are just ways to tap into that part of who we are that we can't necessarily see or take a picture of or completely understand, but we know that at some level that it's there. So as we were saying, when something significant occurs in our life, and of course the past year has been significant, but when somebody we love dies, when something happens tragic, when something great happens, when an opportunity that we were totally blindsided by, that's a very positive opportunity. Like, oh, how did that happen? I wasn't planning on that. It just happened, and what a great thing. So on either side of the ledger, let's explore that experience. How can we use this experience? How can we grow from the experience? What can we develop in our lives as a result of this experience? And again, it kind of taps into that existential question of who have we been, who are we now, and where are we going?
Absolutely.
And for some people, finding that religious or spiritual community is very important. Whether it's a church or a synagogue, chapel, wherever that may be. And for some of us, nature is one of my favorite sanctuaries to get out into, because I feel the oneness with those higher powers out in the powers of nature. And so, whatever your thing is, there is a community for you somewhere. People who are like-minded, people who celebrate the same types of things, same types of beliefs and understandings, and that can certainly be an anchor in your life as you're kind of moving through the different stages.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And that kind of ties in with social wellness, because as you're finding yourself and you're taking time for yourself and you're looking at reflecting on who you are, that helps you when you're starting to build your relationship with other individuals. So just taking the time to build healthy relationships, continuing to look at your social life as a whole, you know, as you're kind of reflecting on yourselves, what do I want to improve socially? Whether it's the relationship with your spouse, with your children, with other coworkers, with your friends, parents, whatever category you fall into. How can I improve that relationship? What am I going to do to be a better person and be a better person not only for myself but be a better person for my community, for those around me, for my loved ones, for my friends, and just for society as a whole. And I think the one thing COVID-19 has really taught us, because we sometimes lost that a connection with our family and our friends or whatever, but it's vitally important to try to make every effort possible to keep in touch with those friends and family members. I know we've used a lot of social media platforms lately, and some of us may have loved ones in nursing home facilities and things of that nature that we would normally visit, but just continuing to make that contact. I have family that lives in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and my wife does too. And just out of precaution, we didn't make that contact physically, within this last year. But it was I was purposeful, to try to make calls, give them calls twice a week, do some Skypes, or do some FaceTimes, different things of that nature, just to make sure that I was talking with them and keeping that communication. And it's the same thing even within my home, my children, they did a lot of remote learning. So that was just a great opportunity to get to know them better and to talk to them about, the next stages in their lives. And it was also a great opportunity for me to talk to my wife, and get to know her better and my coworkers as well. Just building on that social relationship.
Yeah, so Nathan, one of my oldest daughter and granddaughter moved out to Colorado back in December, and when they lived here, we knew that we were going to see each other. It might be 3, 4, or 5 days go by, busy schedules, school schedules, work schedules, and all that. But now they live out in Colorado, we actually probably communicate more via either a phone call or FaceTime, right? So,
Right.
so we probably communicate more, well, and they're out in Colorado than when we did when they lived here in New Bern. So, yeah, those social media platforms have really given us an opportunity to stay connected, and that's a great thing to have that ability to stay connected. The other strategies that we were, have listed down here is just practicing self-disclosure. Once again, just kind of being transparent, being real. When we're having adversity or struggles, just reaching out and telling a friend, telling a colleague, hey man, right now I'm just kind of struggling a little bit. And then, it's not that we're asking them to do anything for us or take pity on us or anything. We're just saying, hey, and of course our friends, colleagues, family members, they know that. They say, hey, well, we've been through the rough patches too. And so you just, when you acknowledge something and you put it out there, and people support you, they encourage you. And they're not going to be able to fix your problems or take the problems away from you, but just having that encouragement from the people that are around you, again, their positivity, their caring, can lift you up and help you through difficult moments, difficult times, difficult experiences. And then just like we talked about, joining a religious community or a spiritual community, there's all kinds of different other clubs and organizations out there that people can join. from a quilting club to a dancing club to martial arts, just a ton of different things that you can do. That if it's a hobby or something like that, there's other people that enjoy that. It just gives you those times to share those passions that you have with other people, and it provides that social networking and that social support.
Absolutely. So the next area that we're dealing with is occupational wellness. So most people realize whether you work full time, whether it's 40 hours a week or 20 or more hours a week, you spend a lot of time with your coworkers, with those around you, and here, at our job, we're like a second family here. So making sure that we're taking the time to have that personal satisfaction and help encourage and enrich one another is important. And one of the strategies that's mentioned is just kind of taking a self-assessment of your job. What about your job do you enjoy? What about your occupation? And which ones do you find burdensome? And as you're looking at that, well, what can you do to help change that? Every job has some tasks that you don't enjoy, but when you look at the bigger picture of what you're doing, what your purpose is, then that can really change. Practicing open communication and having conflict management with your colleagues is really important. You always want to be tactful if you see something that you feel that needs to be changed, and making sure that you practice how to portray what's a concern for you in a tactful manner, but at the same time, making sure that you express that concern with your colleagues. And if you do have a disagreement, make sure that it doesn't get out of hand or anything else like that, that you know how to manage those conflicts. And that might even be at a point maybe involving someone else above you all. You never know. This depends on what the situation is.
Hey, let me ask you this question, Nathan. What you're doing right now, advising, which is a lot of different hats, right? I mean, a lot of that's education. You're educating people, not specifically teaching math or science or English and that type of thing, but you're educating people about the tools of higher education, how to use those, how to understand those, program development, career exploration, all those types of things. Do you feel like this is kind of what you were made for, what you were meant to do at this point in your life? How's your career choice at this point played out for you?
Oh, absolutely. And it's almost like a calling, as some people would refer to it, because I've always been someone that wanted to help people and help guide folks and lead them to their goals in life. I did it, coming out of high school. I served 20 years in the Marines. And, as a staff NCO, I used to help guide my Marines and help make them better Marines than I was. And just to have the opportunity to do the same thing in education is wonderful. That's why I really do enjoy my position. I enjoy what I do.
And that, that's part of what we do as advisors when people come in and say they're not quite sure what they want to do. And I don't know about you, Nathan, but I've never really been able to hold a job that I didn't enjoy doing, because it's like, okay, I got to get up and do this, 5 days a week, 8+ hours more a day. And it's got to be something that is meaningful, that I feel like I'm contributing at some level. It gives me purpose. It gives me meaning. And it's just real important. And whether that's helping people, or whether that's creating something, or whether that's selling something that helps other people, but whatever it is, we tell people, look, hopefully it's something that you enjoy or have a passion for, because you're going to be doing it a lot. And that occupational wellness, if you're not happy in your job, if you're not happy where you're working, what you're doing, that's stressful. And that's not going to help. We're talking about the 8 dimensions of wellness. And Nathan, you and I see it. People come in and say, the reason why I'm coming back to college because I don't like what I do. I thought I was I thought I was going to like it, but it turns out I don't like it. I need to make another choice. So yes, our careers are really extensions of our personalities, of our belief systems, of our hopes and goals, not only for ourselves, but those around us. And it's just a huge part of who we are. You know, we talked about the 8 slices of the pizza, and everyone has great value to it. And that occupational one, if you're happy in your job, man, it's going to bring you a lot of satisfaction and make you very emotionally well, all in all. So very important stuff. And, you know, the other thing, the last strategy, Nathan, that I would touch on here is that, you know, some people say, you know, I really, you know, I wanted to be a singer, right? I wanted to be on American Idol and make it to the next level and, you know, make my own records and all that. But I'm probably not going to be able to forge a living with that, you know, make the ends meet, pay the bills and things like that. And, you know, my thing is, well, okay, but you can still, you know, do some things, right, that'll bring in some money, hopefully. Maybe teach music. You may not be the superstar, the next person that's on the headlines, but, you know, if you're teaching music, if you're helping other people play music, if you're somehow integrating music into your career, you still can be a singer, right? I mean, that's where you join the church, join the choir, right? And you sing in the choir, and you find ways to sing. You get into the local theater, and you get in plays, and you sing. There's just multiple ways to take your interests, turn them into some type of productive career where you're earning a living, but also following those passions in other ways that may be unpaid, but yet still very meaningful.
Absolutely. Great point. Great point. And the next one that we're looking at is financial wellness. You know, and you see, it's like like you said, it's that slices of pizza. You know, each piece and each room supports one another. You know, if you're taking care of yourself, you're finding that right career, you're doing all these different things. Now you need to figure out that financial wellness, making sure that you're are good stewards of what you earn, making sure that you learn about planning for the future, makes you planning for retirements, making a budget, doing the things that will benefit you, because financial worries is one of the major stressors in life. When people find themselves in a financial crisis, it's hard to look at the other items in life. That can bring about the distress, and that can bring about the poor eating habits, the poor exercise habits, because you have those financial challenges in life. And I know everybody can face difficult times. Absolutely, there's no how can I say this? Those things happen all the time, to several people. But being able to try to identify those problems, identify those areas, and reach out and get the resources to help with that is important. And some of the strategies, the biggest strategy that's listed there is don't put it off. If you have a financial problem, if there's something that's there, identify the problem and help and find ways to address it. That's one of the reasons why we're here. There's local resources in the community that they can help address some of those concerns, and then there's people that's out there that can help you organize your records and your finances to help you have a livable budget, a workable budget to make sure that you meet those financial needs. It's just really important to do those things. How do you feel about that, Bill? Hey, Bill, you're muted, sir. I know Bill's muted there. Uh, just
I
getting
know.
ready.
I was going to say, what's going on the screen? Oh, there we go. Something jumped on the screen there real quick. I was like trying to figure out what
Sorry
that
about
was. Yeah,
Sorry
no
about
worries.
that.
Oh, no worries. So yeah, what I was going to say is that with the financial aid, we weren't born with that accounting degree, right? And so as we manage finances, we are, at least I am. I'm what my parents were kind of teaching me to be, and some parents taught their kids how to hunt and fish, and some taught them different things about uh, arts and crafts, about money management and all that kind of thing. Well, money in my family there wasn't ever a lot there, so there wasn't much to manage as far as the money goes.
Right, absolutely.
And so, I didn't learn a lot about money management except for this simple fact that I still use today. And that is, um, stay within your means, right? I mean, don't live outside of your means. And so, um, that's the rule that I try to live by. And I seek financial assistance, again, the older that I get, I'm going to have to retire at one point that, Mrs. Omar's going to tell me to go home one day and say, "Hey, Bill, it's time to put you out to pasture," right? So I'm gonna have to have an idea about how I'm going to survive when that day comes, and so I seek financial assistance for those who haven't went to college, who enjoy that kind of thing, who are really good at that kind of thing, to give me the advice that I need. But the biggest thing is just to know how much we have and not overspend in that way. So.
So absolutely. And just like we said earlier, I mean, if you find yourselves, if you identify those problems, just know that there are resources here that we can point you to help you seek financial assistance. And then that's really why a lot of people come back to college. It's because they want to educate themselves and have those career opportunities to be financially stable. And that's what part of the education journey is to do those type of things. So, Bill, we're the last one here.
Yes, we are, my friend. And you and I mean, I might be called a tree hugger because I do love to get out and hike and things like that. And again, we don't want to make any political statements, but we do live on a planet that sustains life. And just as we talked about not living above our means economically and financially, we have to be aware of the environment that we live with too, and being mindful of that environment. Now, again, for me, it's not just the environment, it's not just the weather, it's not the mountains and the ocean. For me, there's a very spiritual connection to the environment that my soul resonates with. But we all need to be good stewards of many things, and I think the environment's one of them. Certainly, our first strategy is the great thing about outside is it literally does boost your vitamin D, and some people have what we call seasonal affective disorder, right? So when the months that are of the winter time and daylight shrinks, a lot of people might struggle with some depression and anxiety just because there's a lack of daylight, and they actually have light therapy where they have lamps and things like that you can sit by. But all in all, the outdoors does provide recreation and therapy for some. And of course, I mentioned hiking and camping and taking walks in the park and kayaking and all the things that there are to do outside. And then volunteering with environmental organizations. Again, oftentimes churches will say, "Hey, we'll adopt a highway and we'll go out and clean the highway in front of the church. Keep that clean." That's always a good idea. But being mindful of our environments, trying to keep the trash out. I love birds. So at my house, I got bird feeders everywhere, so I can watch the birds come and land and all the different species. And every now and then I've got to yell at a squirrel for trying to get in my bird seat. That aggravates me. The conservation of energy. My wife will sometimes turn on lights and then, forget to turn them back off. And she'll say, I know, I forgot to turn the light off and things of that nature. So, but just trying to conserve the energy, recycling. Of course, we all have our good old, big old, what is it, great big green recycling bins.
Right.
Throwing that in there. But I do think that the planet where we live, it is our house, a shared house. We talked about our individual houses with rooms in it. Well, guess what? The planet is the big house. And we need to take care of it just like we take care of our individual houses. And so I just think that makes the board too. That makes a slice of the pizza, Nathan, as far as being aware and mindful of the environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Woo, we covered a lot there, Nathan.
Yes,
we made it in under an hour. I mean, we went about 50 minutes so far. So
okay.
yeah. But we did capture a lot. Those 8 dimensions really do represent the totality and the holistic nature of who we are as humans, how we intersect with each other, how we intersect with the environment, how we intersect with finances in our careers, and it all intersects and it all requires attention, and it's all very important. And it's just something that, as we talk about mental health, we can't really talk about mental health without talking about all these other things as well.
Sure, absolutely. Everything works together, and like I said, it's almost like one circle or one home or one house with many rooms, but you gotta provide that care in each room to make a strong foundation, to make a strong house.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Mr. Stout, you are definitely in the right place. You are doing what you were made to do, and you're great at it. And so I love coming to work, as I've said, and working with you and doing what we do. I hope you and your family have a great Easter break. We will continue to do some mental health topics. We may continue to do videos in the coming year. We may actually mix it up, get back on campus eventually and do some things on campus. But we just want to let our Craven Community College family know that these are important issues and that we are mindful of them. And we are here. We do have the counseling department, Kelly, Taylor, myself, and Nathan. Anytime you have an issue and you want to talk about it and find out about other resources in the community in all these dimensions that we've talked about, we definitely are here to help and assist.
Absolutely. Definitely a pleasure, Bill. Always a pleasure.
All right. Thank you all for joining us and listening. Have a great Easter, everybody.